Good morning, world! It is May 14th here in the UK. I have officially gotten shortlisted to go back home. I can't believe it. Literally 2.5 months later, I heard from the embassy that I got shortlisted. I got an email, booked my tickets yesterday, and I am good and ready to go. And we're off. So I've officially made it. Waiting here at Heathrow Airport with my mask on. I'm having a banana, that's why I don't have my mask on. This is what the airport looks like. As you can see, there's not that many people. It's pretty bare. Everyone's got masks on. Seems pretty safe. And I really like how they've done this whole seat skipping thing with the signs. I definitely feel like Heathrow Airport's doing a good job with the distancing. So I am about to board the Chennai evacuation flight. Managed to get through security, and I'm here at the line waiting basically to get my temperature checked. Social distancing has been pretty alright until we kind of got to the lines, and as you can see, the 2 meters kind of became 1 meter. But otherwise, it has been pretty well organized and smooth so far, and fingers crossed, after checking my temperature, I should be good to board. So. Officially boarded, ready to go. I got my visor on. I can't believe they've given visors. I can't hear anything. I can barely talk. But it looks good. I have amazing seats. I'm really happy about that. So much leg room. And even though we are sitting next to each other, the distancing is not very much, but it still seems pretty good. We got gloves, we have hand sanitizers, masks, everything. So I'm off to Chennai. I made it to Chennai. Hey all, so it's been a couple of days later and I have been checked into the hotel that I'm staying at, which is basically going to be my quarantine facility for the next 2 weeks before I can go home. And it has been quite the journey. That you saw my face last time around. I was exhausted and I just needed a few days just to myself, just to kind of take some time, relax. I was nervous going back home to India because I knowing India being such a dense population, and sometimes administrative things being messy, I was scared to kind of go back into that environment again. But I was pleasantly surprised in that the Chennai Corporation, the Tamil Nadu government, has done a pretty good job organizing the airports and the testing and buses for us to get to our hotel facilities, and the service here has been really great. I also wanted to speak a little bit on the facilities, the accommodation facilities that are being provided. All I can speak about is what the Tamil Nadu government has organized so far. Each state government has their own set of processes that are being followed. Once we landed at the airport, I was let outside to get testing done. And we had filled out our forms that were basically like a self-consenting form of being in quarantine and being in isolation for the next 1 month. We also got to choose the type of facility we would want to stay at. And there were 3 categories in these. One, which was a free government-based facility. The second, which was one for about $1,500 a night, and the third one, which was about $2,500 a night. And the paid facilities were mostly hotels. Hotels, 3-star and 5-star hotels. You are allocated a hotel or a facility randomly based on the category that you pick, and then that is where you will be required to stay for at least 14 days before you can move to your own home. And the ability to leave the facility that I'm in right now is all dependent on your test results. If you test positive, you are shifted to a private hospital. If not, that's your go-ahead to go back home. I know I'm in a position of extreme privilege to be staying in the place that I am in right now. I've been, just taking it easy. I have a form of entertainment Wi-Fi here, so I've managed to just kind of get back into watching some Indian shows, dancing, eating a lot of good food, and trying to just stay healthy and recuperate, basically. Something I want to touch on. A lot of people don't realize that the Indians that have been stranded abroad, there's this assumption that we are highly privileged and we are living these extremely comfortable lives abroad, and so we shouldn't be made a priority to come back home. And I would like to say that is just a huge misconception. Most of us have gone off to study abroad because we got scholarships to be able to afford the expenses abroad. Once you're actually there, your tuition costs are taken care of, but everything else you still have to manage somehow, which include your rent, your food, expenses, your day-to-day expenses, which is not cheap. Just to give you perspective, in a big urban city like Bombay, monthly rent can go anywhere from 30 to possibly 45,000 a month. That is a low-end, very, very basic amenities, probably like a 5-person house share rent in a place like, say, Norwich, where I was staying at. That is just your monthly rent. That's not including your groceries and other expenses. So you can kind of do the math and figure out that it is not cheap residing abroad, and especially when you are half dependent on your family. It is extremely, extremely financially stressful. Being away from family in a foreign country, it has not been easy for a lot of us Indians who have been stranded. This misconception that we are well off and privileged and so shouldn't really be assisted is wrong, and it is frankly, it's just a very horrible way of looking at your own fellow citizens who are also in need of help. Not disregarding the extreme situations of poverty that many in our country are facing, and I'm not even trying to compare our situations to them, because that is just a different level of assistance that needs to be touched on. And I know that the migrant workers are one of the most extreme cases that need to be looked at and prioritized at the highest level, and I am completely on board with that being the number one priority, because they are just suffering in ways that we could never even imagine, and that's something I believe definitely needs to be looked at, that state governments, central government should really, really prioritize to help them out and at least provide them basic means. And again, I'm not trying to draw a comparison, but having experienced a life of extreme financial struggle abroad, I faced situations of barely being able to pay my bills and barely being able to afford food on a week-to-week basis. When you're living abroad, it is almost as if you are in the category of a migrant worker when you're living and surviving as an immigrant. And it was just a real wake-up call and just a real sort of game changer when you are stuck in that sort of a situation, making you be a lot more grateful for your privilege. So all in all, I am just really thankful to be back home. Just a few more steps away to being home, back in my family house here in Chennai. I literally live like 20 minutes away, but I can't leave until I'm clear of my test results, and I can go back home and I complete my quarantine successfully, and I'm hoping I'll get to see my family real soon.